The burden of masculinity and the spiral into emotional disconnection in the salesman. To understand the effects of hegemonic masculinity, we turn to scholars like Cannell and Messerschmitt, who argue that societal expectations around masculinity often push men toward control and emotional detachment, creating internal conflict and isolating them from others. In post revolutionary Iranian society, this pressure is compounded by strong cultural values tied to honor and dominance. Analyzing Emot's obsessive pursuit of revenge after the assault on his wife Rana in The Salesman reveals how societal expectations shape one's action to go against their true nature. Expectations that pressure men to prioritize pride over empathy, ultimately trapping them in behaviors that estrange them from themselves and those around them. Exploring the psychological impact of hegemonic masculinity helps us to reveal its role in fostering anxiety, harming mental health, and reducing emotional intimacy, with far reaching consequences for society as a whole. Hegemonic masculinity is widely recognized as a culturally idealized form of masculine character, promoting traits such as toughness, emotional control, while discouraging openness. This creates ongoing tension as men are expected to maintain dominance and distance themselves from vulnerability to avoid perceived weakness. This struggle often defines their experiences, a clash between societal picture and their own emotions. Scholars further expand on this idea through the concept of masculine domination, suggesting that men are socially conditioned to value control as a core masculine trait, enforcing rigid expectations of emotional restraint and detachment. These views highlight how such norms enforce emotional suppression, with some scholars observing that the system comes at a cost for men in terms of their health and quality of life. In response to established influence of masculine ideals, I argue that traditional societal pressures reinforced by stereotypical teachings infiltrate even the most private and intimate aspects of a man's identity, reshaping his core character and constructing a version of himself that feels entirely unrecognizable. Emma's obsession with seeking revenge on his own, saying, I need to find him, shows his deep belief that reclaiming control is essential to restoring his masculinity. This need is further fueled by external pressures that heighten his insecurities. For instance, when neighbor remarks, You weren't there to see how your wife looked on the bathroom floor, this comment challenges his sense of masculine duty and pushes him towards seeking revenge. Robert and Eliot observe that men marginalized by hegemonic masculinity often feel pressure to assert their dominance through aggressive behaviors, a dynamic clearly reflected in Emot's action. Emot's transformed from a protector into a stranger within his own relationship. This is reflected when Rana tells him, You're not the same person. You just wanted to get revenge, expressing her deep sense of loss and disconnection. According to scholars, men's adherence to hegemonic masculinity not only limits their emotional capacity, but often leaves those around them feeling abandoned and neglected. This dynamic is further illustrated when Rana, overwhelmed by trauma, asks her friend, Can I keep your child here until Ahmad comes home? I can't stay alone in the house. Despite Rana's clear need for support, Ahmad remains fixated on preserving his honor, sidelighting Rana's emotional need and further weakening the very bond he should have been protecting. Finally, the breaking point comes when Rana tells Ahmad, If you confront the attacker in front of his family, there is nothing left between us. In that moment, it's clear how much the relationship has fallen apart. Ahmad's focus on protecting his honor instead of supporting Rana has broken the trust and connection between them. Their once loving and supportive home turned into a place of silence, darkness, and emotional distance. Instead of healing together, they grow further apart, reflecting how men who adhere to traditional masculine norms are less likely to seek support, further increasing the risk of depression and social isolation. Rigid masculine ideals create a cascade of harmful consequences, impacting both individuals and their loved ones. These norms cultivate environments in intimate relationships where vulnerability is devalued, communication breaks down, and emotional disconnection takes root. Societal structures endorse male authority by devaluing emotional expressiveness in men, pressuring them to appear detached and authoritative. However, early community-based innovation and awareness programs have been shown to effectively challenge these harmful norms by encouraging empathy and fostering meaningful connections. Strategies that enhance emotional intelligence not only improve interpersonal relationship and reduce aggression, but also contribute to overall societal well-being. By creating environments that nurture openness and meaningful bonds, we can prevent future generations from falling into the same harmful cycle, ultimately fostering healthier relationships and stronger communities.